to Novel Idea. My name is Dia, and today I have a quick weekly wrap-up. So one that I forgot to tell you about, I've been doing that a lot lately, this last week was Aurora Lee by Elizabeth Barrett Browning. Aurora Lee was for Victober, and it is a long form poem. It is about a girl whose life is difficult and reminds me in many ways of Jane Eyre, but in poetry form. And there are quite a few things that are different in Aurora's life than there are in Jane's life. There's no woman in the attic in Aurora's life. But it was wonderful. I so enjoyed it, and I actually want to reread it sooner rather than later, because I feel like now that I have read it and I have it kind of under my belt, I feel like I would get so much more out of it on a reread. So I'm kind of tempted. I almost wish that it was prose, because I feel like it would be just this wonderful story that would be read by so many more people if it wasn't contextualized as poetry. So anyway, it's wonderful. If you have an opportunity to pick it up, please do. Then Shelley and I finished City of Thieves by David Benioff. And this book, I have so many conflicting opinions and feelings about. It's difficult to put it into words. At its heart, it is a story of war and friendship, and unlikely friendship at that, about two boys and what they bond through. The one feels like he is really a gift to humanity, and the other one feels like a blight on humanity. And yet they come together and they form this bond, and they literally would die for one another. And so it is wonderful in so many ways. The writing is beautiful. I think it's brilliantly written. It's a story within a story as well. And it has some really easy to love characters in it. It's got some easy to hate characters too. But it had so much language, and the language that was used was also very derogatory towards women and sex and all of that. And being in the head of a young 16, 17-year-old boy when he's in the middle of war and is a virgin and wants to know what it's all about. And then we have a very worldly boy who, like I said, thinks he's just God's gift to everyone. It just was a lot. It was a lot to take. There was some really graphic, violent scenes, and understandable in the middle of the war, but some of the ones that were the hardest to take weren't about soldiering. They were much more about other kinds of brutality. And yeah, it was not a fun read, let's put it that way. And it says that it's funny. I don't remember laughing. I remember thinking, oh, he thinks that's funny. I think Shelley probably had a little bit better time with it than I did, but I couldn't recommend this book to anyone. I am glad that I read it with Shelley though. I loved getting to hear her thoughts about the writing style and maybe like what he was trying to do with, you know, like parallel kind of stuff that was going on. Yeah, City of Thieves. Then I finished up Over to Candleford. Complete opposite. This is a book I would recommend to anyone. Didn't have quite the charm that the first book had for me, but it still was extremely charming. Our characters are growing up a little bit and seeing some things that maybe wouldn't have been quite so noticeable when they were much younger children. But I love our main character, Laura. I love her heart, and I love the way that she is always willing to give the benefit of the doubt to her friends and family and to humanity in general. She is just such a lovely hearted girl, just so wonderfully kind and generous of spirit. And so I really enjoyed it. I know Stephanie really enjoyed it. We're not reading the last book until like the last week of November. And honestly, it's a little hard to wait because this book it just captures us. We so look forward to picking it up every single night. So Over to Candleford, Flora Thompson, book 2 in the Lark Rise to Candleford series. Nickelby by Charles Dickens is the next book, and it is a book that I read all month long with Kelly from Kelly Reads a Lot, and part of the month with Tiffany from Beautiful Minutia. It was a reread for me, and it was a wonderful reread. Kelly had read it before also, but she did not remember pretty much anything. So it was so much fun to cheer when certain characters came on the scene, and just the beauty of friendship and what it means to be kind over cynical and cruel, and to see with Dickens, as always, the cruel get what is coming to them. What goes around comes around in a Dickens novel. And then there are these ones that you start off not liking, and then suddenly you're like, maybe I do like them. Nicholas and his family are very tight-knit, very close, and a member of the family passes, and they have to come together even more to make their way in the world. I'd recommend it to anyone. Then I read Untitled Books. This is one of the books in the Glass Library series. This is probably my least favorite out of the 3 that I have read. C.J. Archer is the author, I'm sorry. I don't think I liked the mystery as well in this one. The relationship, her thinking about the relationship and all of that kind of stuff. But what I loved about this one was that our main character finds out some very important things about who she is. And the other things that I love are that she really has strong friends, and they are people that really rally around her, that love her and support her. So even though it was my least favorite of the three, it was not something that is going to put me off reading the rest of the series. Then I read Tuesdays at the Castle. This is by Jessica Day George. And this was the recommendation from my niece. I just asked my family, what are some of your favorite books? What's a book that you think I would enjoy? Those kinds of things. And my niece told me to read Tuesdays at the Castle, and she was right. I did like it. It was really sweet. Another one that is just strong family, and even though they get miffed with one another and they, you know, have the typical sibling dynamics that go around, they really do try to work together to solve some things, to be supportive of each other, and they find out who else they can trust, which just builds toward their future. And the castle in this book is a wonderful, wonderful character. I really liked it. So thank you, Marion. Then I began to read Wayward by Emilia Hart. And even though I would say that this is a very lush kind of writing for the book, and I think it initially drew me in very quickly, it also put me off. And I ended up DNFing it at probably about the 40% mark. And the reason for that was there were several reasons. One was that it was very misogynistic. Every man in this book is a predator of some sort. And it just got to be a little much for me to take. I understand wanting to be a feminist kind of novel. I understand wanting to stand up for women's rights, but this book went overboard the other direction with it, and was just, there wasn't a single man in this book, not one, that was honorable or someone that was there to help or to be kind. Now, I don't know if that changes. Like I said, I DNF'd it at about the 40% mark. So I will say there were some really good moments in this book. We are following 3 generations of women, and they all have a witchy connection to nature and animals and insects. There's a really great undergirding in this book of tension, and you feel tense. But part of that is because it has so many content warnings. If you have a problem at all with sexual abuse / rape, domestic violence, miscarriage, or abortion in any kind of a way, just stay away from this book. Don't even pick it up, because it's on page. It's happening on page. So it's just miserable to read. And it just wasn't for me. Those are the books. So I want to know, have you guys read these books? Do you agree? I'm sure that there are many people that loved City of Thieves, and I did not. I'm sure that there are many people who did not love Nicholas Nickelby. I did. I do. So I would love to hear what you think about these, and I would also love to hear what was your favorite read in October. So I will see you again very soon. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'll see you soon. Bye.